Hi, welcome to Papa's Workshop. Since I posted the video on my upgrade with this Z-axis from CNC4NEWBIEs, I've had a lot of questions. The first question was, why did I upgrade to begin with? And two, why have I been so successful at having no problem with this X-carve for the last 3 years? Today I want to answer those two important questions, so let's get started. The first thing I want to say about the X-carve, it has served me very, very well for the last 3 years. And I built this machine in 2017 after purchasing it in November of 2016. And you have to be able to build it very, very carefully following the instructions. But with that said, how do you be able to maintain it? Well, it's called regular maintenance. As most of you know, I'm a pilot. And being a pilot, I'm not going to get into an airplane before I thoroughly check it out before each flight. The same is true with this X-carve. If you ever wondered in the videos how this machine is so clean all the time, even though I'm using it constantly, it's because I regularly check this machine from top to bottom to make sure that there are no problems with it. This is a hobby CNC machine. It's really not designed for production work. Although I know that there are people out there that are using this every day in their shops and making a good living with it. But it wasn't really designed for that purpose. You have to keep in mind that your speeds must remain fairly slow. You have 140 ounce stepper motors that are not the strongest in the world, so it will cause chattering. And I've had a lot of people on the forum talk about the chattering. The next thing that you have to realize is this is a fairly lightweight machine. If you actually look at it, these rails will have a little bit of flex in them. And I have an upgrade that I'm going to be adding to this to be able to help stabilize that even more. The other thing that you want to realize is that these all have these V wheels on them, and these V wheels must be adjusted and be able to maintain the proper tension on them. That requires maintenance. Okay. Now, how do I go about doing in essence, a checklist before I do a carve? I literally begin at the X controller and I check all of the wiring. Then I move over to the rails and check the belts. I check all the belts to make sure that there's no fraying, that there's no parts of the belt that's broken on these teeth. And then I move over to the V wheels and I check each of the V wheels to make sure that the tension is still correct, because that will change over time. And if anything is wrong, I make the adjustment before I do the carving. The other thing that I will do is check all of the wiring. I've had so many people talk about wires beginning to fray or break, or different problems happen and they're in the middle of a project and the machine goes kind of crazy. Well, a big factor of that is check before you begin the project. And I do look at all of the wiring on the machine from each of the stepper motors all the way through to make sure that everything is still intact and connected the way it should be. The next thing that I do on the router itself. So many people will talk about these routers burning up and having problems and a lot of issues. Well, 9 times out of 10, the issue is simply the brushes wear out. Now, I'm getting about 180 to 200 hours of operating time with my router per set of brushes. So the first thing, I always keep a set of brushes on hand. The next thing that I do is I keep a log on how many hours that I have on each set of brushes that I put into this machine. Because I know right now, if I look at my log, that I have about 95 hours on this set of brushes. So I know that's about halfway through. But I also take it a step further. Periodically, I will open up the top of the router and physically inspect the brushes to make sure that I'm not getting any type of abnormal wear and tear on them. And the last thing I want to tell you about this If you do some serious tiling like I've done in the last several videos, this machine must be calibrated exactly as close of a tolerance as you can do. And that means making sure that the machine is square, making sure that this wasteboard is flat and level to this gantry, and all of that takes time to be able to set up. To me, it's rewarding and fun to be able to do because that's part of the excitement of the hobby, is making sure that this machine does run smoothly when I'm doing a project. There's nothing more frustrating than having a problem right in the middle of doing a particular project. The last thing that I want to mention is the tension on the belts. There's been a lot of discussion on the forum as to how tight, how do you adjust them, how do you measure the tension on them. Well, the fish scale seems to be the best way with this gantry moved all the way back. And the common philosophy has been around 4.5 pounds when you pull 1 inch up on the belt. Well, my tension is actually less than that. I run the tension on the belt about 3.5 pounds. It has worked very, very well for me, and I have not had any belts break in the 3 years that I've been running this machine. And I've got over 1,000 hours running this machine. So going back to my analogy with the flying, I wouldn't crawl into an airplane and start flying unless I've thoroughly checked it and fixed any problems that I noticed when I was doing the checklist. The same is true for the X-Carve. There's a lot of electronics involved, there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of wheels and belts and things that must be right to be successful. Any one of those components that breaks or has a problem is going to affect your project. Now, a lot of people are saying, why did I upgrade this Z-axis that came with the X-Carve to this one? Well, first, if you just look at it, I've been able to eliminate the issue with the belt because this is belt driven. If this belt breaks, it's gone. I got to stop my project until I get a new belt. This is the direct drive. This stepper motor is attached directly to the threaded rod. The other thing that I want to point out to you, look at this. You've got the wheels on here, and these wheels are moving parts and they have to be adjusted. These nuts, like anything else, can come loose. You have the eccentric nuts over here so that you can put the tension on this. And when you need to be able to check that and see that the tension is correct on the wheels. That also has been eliminated with my upgrade. With these linear bearings, I don't have to worry about wheels coming loose. That's not going to come loose. So why the upgrade? Why not the upgrade? This is a far superior product to be able to add to the X-Carve that was made specifically for the X-Carve, and it is proving to be very, very valuable to me. This stepper motor is a larger stepper motor. This is 178 ounce, which is going to give me more capacity to be able to do the projects. As I upgrade further with this X-Carve, it will become more rigid, and with a little bit larger stepper motors, I'll be able to increase the speeds and be able to do the production runs faster. And that's one of the goals that I have that I can't do right now. So the jobs that I do and the speed of the jobs are limited by the X-Carve. These upgrades that I'm doing will actually help to improve that significantly. So the biggest downfall on the original are the V-wheels that have to be adjusted, and the fact that the V-wheels can and do wear out. And of course, the belt itself. Belts do wear out, okay, and it has to be regularly maintained. The next reason that I want to discuss as to why I upgraded, the thickness of the material is limited on the X-Carve. So if you're carving small projects and you're carving things that are fairly thin, this works really well. You have clearance between the bottom of this gantry to the table of about 2.5 inches. Well, one of the things that I want to be able to do is upgrade my X-axis riser. And this is going to give me a lot more clearance because this Z-axis actually has the capability of moving 7 inches. I'll show you. This is the standard X-axis riser that comes with the X-Carve. This is the upgrade. The first thing that you will notice is that this is a much thicker, heavier duty X-axis riser than what's currently on the X-Carve. This provides a much more stable machine by having this thicker material. It's going to be more solid, and that's important. The other thing, if I put these side by side, you can see that it's going to give me another 2 inches of clearance that I'm going to be able to do larger projects. So instead of 2.5 inches that I currently have, this will add another 2 inches to my overall height, and I can do and carve larger projects. That's important because I have some bigger things in mind down the road, and having that being able to be up 4.5 inches of clearance is very important to me. The last thing that I want to point out is I do have the laser that's attached to the X-Carve. With this modification and using this particular mount, I don't have the ability to put the laser on it right now. Now I do have a couple of options. One, I could remove this mount and put the mount from Inventables directly onto the Z-axis and everything would be great. But what I want to be able to do is continue to use this mount, but I want to still be able to add the laser. The nice thing about that is I've contacted the JTech Photonics, and they are actually currently working on a design that I have suggested to be able to attach the laser directly to the router. So as soon as we get that design completed and operating the way it should, I'll be able to show you that as well. But being able to upgrade the X-Carve to me is very exciting, because after 3 years of doing the videos and showing you all of the different capabilities of what the X-Carve can do, I'm actually very excited to be able to take the next step and show you what the X-Carve is truly capable of with the different upgrades that I'm going to be doing that are provided by the CNC4NEWBIEs. Can't wait for that. So I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I hope that answered the questions as to why do I want to upgrade and why I've been so successful with the X-Carve. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.